Hey, this is Troy Wallace with StayOnTheCourt.com. This is practice planning, practice 2 for fifth grade boys basketball team. And so I'm not going to go into the in-depth about my team and all of the specifics of our league and all that. That is in practice plan 1, which you can find on the YouTube channel. So what I planned on doing was doing a kind of a post-mortem of each practice, but I think I'm going to go ahead and combine them and do, especially because these are the 2 practices that are within 1 week. And what I tend to find is that you plan your first day's practice, and then inevitably you don't get to all the things that you want to do on day 1 of the week, and it ends up shifting to day 2, and that's what happened. So on our court, we share it with another team in our program, and it's a big gym. But when we got there, the main hoops were not down, so we had to chase down someone from maintenance for the school, and we finally got them down. But that ate about 15 minutes. We just did with all the kids, both teams, just some dribbling drills, and then as the hoops got down, we did some base, what we could call circle shooting, to fill the time, and then we divided into teams. So I probably, out of the 90 minutes, got about it maybe 70 minutes total, 1 hour, 10 minutes. So I will show, let's do the postmortem first of what I was able to get through and what worked and what didn't. Let me move down that photo there. And by the way, I'm trying to get the YouTube lives to work, but I can't show my screen. I'm amazed that there's not just some button on YouTube to show your screen, but there's not. So I tried a service, didn't work. But if you have interest in doing this live with me, usually I do it on Tuesday, Thursdays. I could either do mornings or afternoons. Certainly just get a hold of me at the website, StayOnTheCourt.com, through the contact page, or you can email me directly at troy.wallace, WALLACE, at StayOnTheCourt.com. All right. So had a couple new kids that are on my team this year. The rest of the kids I had last year on a 4th grade team. So we discussed, I didn't do the collapse thing I talked about in the first video, or the first practice video. I may look at that when everybody gets together. We should have most of our team together next week, so I will look into that. So did talk about what I call vision, decision, and execution, putting them in lots of game situations, spacing. Over the course of practice, I discussed the fact that, even if they don't ever play another year, if they learn some of the basics of the 5 out and passing and cutting, they're going to be able to go to any court really in the country or the world, and they're going to be able to play basketball, because they know the basics. So, all right. So we started out with power layup, jump stop. That gave me an idea where they were. I had some kids that are not used to doing a jump stop. They are actually good at doing regular layups. So that was a little bit new. So we did that for about 5 to 10 minutes until I got a feel for how people, their skill level on that. Next thing we did was the catch the tiger, which is essentially giving somebody a little penny, have them stick it in their shorts, and you have the rest of the team dribbling, chasing them around. The kids definitely enjoyed that. I got to see a little bit of their dribbling, but that was more of a fun drill. The pass and follow. So I think that's just a good solid drill. I like it as a starting point of getting people used to passing the ball and then doing something, which in this case is just going to the other line. If you watch the first video, I didn't get to that more advanced version of it. I could see that the kids were already getting a little bit bored. So we moved on to talking about moving after you pass. I had a little piece about from Greg Popovich in a speech where he talks about, for the rest of your life, you will pass and you will cut, or at least you will move and do something. So surprisingly, the kids reacted well to that, and one of the kids actually knew who Greg Popovich was. So then we went through the base cuts for the 5-out offense. There's lots of videos out there on that, or if you're interested, I can certainly send you some of the resources that I use. So that worked out well. The kids paid attention. Some of the kids, there was 2 of them that really had not worked in that offense. Ooh, bear with me. My wife brought home some masala, like cheese curd potato chip things. And oh, they were good, but they were a little hot. All right, so we actually spent a little more time than I thought we would. The kids, didn't seem to get bored, which is good. I ended up having 6 kids. I anticipated 7. So, had to have one sitting out, but we rotated in pretty regularly. So we went through that, and then we did this tiger passing drill, which is, again, I can send you the video, or I think I might have showed it in the first video. It's just really simplified version. You never pass down to the 4 and 5 spots down on the baseline, and it just gets people used to passing the ball, making that cut to the basket, and then they just fill in the lines in the corner. So again, if you want to see that you can go and look. Just let me know, and I'm happy to send you this practice plan or let you have access to this Google sheet. All right, then we moved into a baseline out of bounds. So I just ended up doing what we call a stack. 2 of the kids, again, we were not in the program last year, so 3 of them kind of knew the play, 2 of them didn't. But I don't think we're going to get our full group together even next week. I don't know that we'll have everybody. So I'm going to keep things simple. Just the fact that a couple people know the play, that was kind of a head start. So they did that. We went through it just probably 5 to 10 times, switching positions, letting the kids, enter the ball. What I am doing this year is, I give kids numbers 1 through 5. So in the 5-out offense, they kind of know at least where to start. And I'm making it consistent that on out of bounds plays, my number 3, I'll make sure is one of my better decision makers, is the person taking the ball out of bounds. All right, race car, we did not get to that. Read and react warm-up drill, we did not get to that. I knew we were running out of time. I wanted to do one more fun thing. So we did this golden child drill, which I showed you in the last video. The kids had a lot of fun with that. And then we had about 7 to 10 minutes left once we finished that. And I asked if they wanted to scrimmage or continue playing golden child. And everybody said knockout, right? The world's most famous into practice game. But the reason it is it works. So everybody's played knockout. If you don't know that, I'm sure there's tons of resources on Google or YouTube on how to do that. And then I gave out, we ended up doing 2 games of knockout and had 2 different winners. And I got packs of basketball cards. I found out last year it got very expensive to give a full pack. So I cheaped out this year and I give them 1 card if they win. So hopefully 3 or 4 packs that I can't believe it. It was like $7 or $8 a pack. Aging myself, but they were like 45 cents when I was 11 years old. All right, so here is what we're going to look at for tonight. So I just copied this whole thing because I knew there's some things that I'm going to, or we didn't get to. And I'm really going to reinforce some of the same things in our discussions. I'm going to find probably a new drill here. So I'm going to take that out. I'm not going to do this. So pass and follow, I do like that drill, but I think that I will probably replace it with pivot and pass, another real basic drill, but it works. So put that there. Pivot and pass. Huh. For some reason, the link isn't there. I should be able to find it pretty easy. So this is pretty much it. So you can see there, and it's also called the explode, pivot, and pass. So that is what I will do for passing tonight. And again, I will emphasize to them that once you make that pivot and you pass, it's running its motion back to the end of the line. So there's still going to be passing and moving. All right, so I'm going to keep that little line item in there. I don't think we're going to go through the base 5 out. Actually, I probably will do this, and we just did offensive cuts. So I'm going to talk more about back cuts. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this, but I am going to tell them about the react line, which is 3-point line, and if someone's overplaying you, it's an automatic back cut. So we'll do just probably 5, maybe 10 minutes of that. And the reason I want to do that is, and I should have the whole 90 minutes today, is I want to get to this read and react warm-up drill. And I showed you that in the first video. But this is something I would like to do as our warm-ups before the game, because it gets them into motion and they get a lot of shots up. So I want to start getting them used to doing that drill. So I'm going to put that here. And then we will go over the baseline out of bounds play. What I will do is I'll probably make it more game-like, and I will have us kind of huddle up. I'll give people numbers, and then I will act as the ref, and I will have them run what we call stack. And they're going to have to figure out where they're at on the court today and execute the play. So we'll do that. We'll huddle up. We'll have different people be the number 3, which is the person throwing the ball in, and that's will be the baseline out of bounds play. We won't do that for too long. It gets a little bit boring for the kids. So let's see. We're going to take that out. So I talked about doing this race car drill last time, and I will do this hopefully, or get to it tonight. It's definitely a tiring drill, so I'll probably give them a little rest before we get there. Or actually, the rest will be the baseline out of bounds play. And then we'll go into race car, which is a little scrimmage-like. So let's go find race car. All right, so what I like to do now is kind of just add up my time here, where we're at, 5 minutes of discussion. Pivot and pass, that's probably going to be more like 5 minutes. Discussing the moving and the 5 basic outs. We're talking about back cuts tonight. We'll give that 5 and 10 minutes, so let's get it 15 minutes total. The read and react warm-up drill, I definitely want to give that a full 10 minutes. So I'll group these all together, and we give it 25 minutes. Um, let's see here. Yep, I think that's good. I need to start discussing more about game type situations, just simple things like how we're going to handle substitutions. What do you do on the bench? Things of that nature. But, that'll be wasted if half my kids aren't there. So now I really need to go find a couple of games to fill this out. So I'm going to go on pause here for a moment. All right, we're back. So what I did is I went and picked up this game called PacMan. Show you a little bit of it here. And move it up into the beginning. And essentially, it's chasing each other around on the lines. So about like tag, but gets them dribbling the ball, doing something, and you've got one guy chasing. So we'll start things out with that. Um, so I put that up here at the top as something to start out with. Get loose. Then we'll come back to the pivot pass, discussing moving after your pass. Probably doing that while they're doing this drill. And then we're going to go do 10 minutes on the 5-out, but just concentrating on back cuts, which will take us into this read and react warm-up drill, which will incorporate back cuts and regular basket cuts. And my problem is if I only have 5 guys, some of these drills become kind of difficult to do. So I'll have to. That's the bummer about practice this time of year when you're not going to have all your kids. We'll see how that goes. If nothing else, maybe we'll do some 2-on-2, 3-on-3, something of that nature. Just incorporating the back cuts, and put some constraints in, saying they could only score on a basket cut or a back cut. All right, then we'll do the baseline out of bounds. Then we'll play that game called Race Car, which is up and down the court very quickly. And then I'm putting in this thing called Sorcery, which I might have showed you on the last video. I know I have a video here somewhere. And if I only have 5 or 6 kids, this is a nice drill because you set it up with groups of 5. All right. Here's you can just see that you've got your 3 offensive players, and they can only pass the ball against 2, and you've got to stay within the lane. And your defensive players have to stay in the lane. It just crowd gets people used to passing to the open player without a lot of space. So I've got a couple kids that I think can score some points with this sort of action because they are a little bit taller. So, all right. So have that ready to go. And when we do that after the race car, because race car is very tiring. Sorcery, you're kind of just sitting in place. All right, so we'll move on. I know I'm not going to get through all these drills realistically, but right now this is showing me 90 minutes, which is the length of the practice, but nothing goes as planned. So depending on how many kids I have, I don't think I'm going to have enough to do what we call corner recovery, and that goes full court. And essentially what I do is just essentially a scrimmage, except when the offensive team scores, whoever scores the bucket, rather than going back to play defense, they've got to go around a corner. I put cones in the corner, and they have to go around that, which obviously delays them getting back on defense and gives the offense an advantage. So let's see, I'm not sure that there's a video. Nah, I don't see one really available. Again, if anybody does see this and they're interested, certainly contact me and I can get you resources. I'm putting together a whole big list of training drills with links to resources for them that are usually publicly available on the internet. So, all right, so we've got corner recovery, or we'll just play simple 3-on-3. If I only have 5 kids, I'll have to jump in and go from there. All right, then if we do have time, I feel like I'm probably gonna have to cut this, but we may start looking at our sideline out of bounds play. Um, we are going to be in a league where last year you couldn't press. In our league this year, you can full court press. So this may become a little bit more important if we're getting some pressure entering the ball. Then the last thing, the game I'll do is called Game Winner. And essentially, I usually just pick a place in the court. Usually now that they're in 5th grade, it's around the 3-point line. And I just try to make it really dramatic. And everybody gets sometimes 1, sometimes 2 shots. And if they do, it's the game winner. So you give them the pass. They've got to get it up from that spot. And then if they make it, we make a big deal because usually it is a difficult shot. Like I said, I usually put it somewhere around the 3-point line. Now, last time I did this, I had like 5 out of the 11 kids make it. So I gave out a lot of basketball cards that day. So that is the plan for tonight. Again, I would have this probably even more structured if we had all of our kids here, because we need to start talking. I've got a little cheat sheet here where I've put together essentially, what do we need to get done before game 1. And there's going to be the sideline out of bounds play that we're going to look at tonight. And, practice 3 is where I started, doing things that are just, walking through the game, doing our warm up. What do you do when you're on the bench? What are we doing during timeouts, substitutions, jump balls? Argentina passing. Forgot about that one. I have not done any defense yet. There's so much to cover. I may go back to the plan and throw in a little shell drill or something like that to do some basic defense. But all right, that is essentially the plan for tonight's practice. If anybody sees this, hopefully this was helpful. Certainly visit stayonthecourt.com. If you go to stayonthecourt.com/email, you can get on the email list for stay up to date on all the things we're doing there. All right, thanks a lot.